All right. Yes, yes, y'all. And you don't stop. Back at it here, Running with War, a special edition of Running with War. And we will be complete in a minute here. Okay. As our homeboy Chris to fill out the screen. But as you see Chris there, Drew Stevens and Joshua M. Hicks all on board for another episode, a special episode of Running with War. This is what we going to call our bracket special. We all four of us here are going to go over the NCAA tournament bracket and give you picks that we will have for all of the regions up until the Final Four and all that. And we're doing this as part of a group that we have that I created for our WARR Media brethren and sistren, and got a little money on the line too, as well as some bragging rights. I'm putting up some some of my STEMI money to show appreciation to all of our good people here at WARR. But I'm still in the sweepstakes myself. So if I win, I'm taking that 50. But the other 50 will be up for grabs, but as well. But hey, I may not get none of it. You never know with these brackets. Like Drew said before we came on, he ain't paid much attention outside of Illinois, and I don't know how much attention Chris and Josh has paid. I paid a fair amount of attention, but not as much maybe as in most years. But hey, that's like I said to Drew, that's part of the fun of this. You make your picks, you go by your gut sometimes, intuition, and then it's all a gamble in the end anyway. These kids these kids so often they just don't play by the script. They do their own thing, and that's what March is about. A lot of fun upsets, a lot of unexpected moments, memorable moments, and hopefully we'll get that this year as part of the excitement of the tournament, part of everything that's going on. It's not a usual tournament. It's enclosed to the Indianapolis area, or a couple other towns in Indiana, but they apparently all the schools have got in. There was a couple of schools that were worried about Virginia being one of them, that they were worried about maybe not being able to get into the tournament because of COVID stuff. But apparently reports have come across this afternoon that they're in there, and all the 68 teams that planning on playing in the tournament will be available. So, yeah, I guess that's a good enough start for the tournament. And Thursday they'll have their play-in games, their first four games, and then Friday the official tournament will start. So we'll just be, like I said, going across here, all four of us with our brackets, and we'll check up with the results on our later shows going into next week and so forth. Everybody who you see on WARR programming is eligible for the tournament. I don't know how. I mean, eligible for the challenge. I don't know how many are going to get their brackets in, but the Second City Sports people, of course, Ken and Ryan from that Davis show. Hopefully they'll be involved in it as well. I sent out invites to all of them, but maybe next year we'll have a public thing, and maybe we'll get members from our audience in as well. I think I'd like that, but we'll see. But for now, it's just us, and we gonna play out our little drama in front of you. So I don't know who wants to go first. I want to see. Hopefully, you guys can share your screens and share your brackets as you go along. That's part of the plan here. But any of you guys want to step up and go first?
Sure. I mean, I don't mind as long as I figure out how to share my screen.
You might have to enable it. I don't know. I don't know if it's like Zoom, Kyle.
Let me see. I think maybe. I think I see. I see. That's gonna. Let's see if I do it. It's gonna share my screen. Was it? Let's see. All right, we'll do it like this then, because Josh, you can't just share. You can't click on share on yours.
I mean, I am. I mean, I did that technically, but I have to go through my settings and change all these settings, and I have to get out of Google Chrome for it to update and work and all this type of stuff.
Okay,
It's having me do the most with it.
Let me see. I'll share my screen then, and screw it. I'll go first, and then when you guys go with your picks, we'll just do it via my screen. We'll just go over via my screen and my bracket, but it'll be y'all picks. Y'all just announce your picks.
Cool.
Let me see. Okay.
Like I'm doing my bracket right now, so
Yeah, that's fine. Drew and Josh out. What's happening with Drew and Josh? You guys good?
ISO gang.
Okay. Yep. All right. It'd be good if you could. I think on some other ones they have it where you can zero in on the regions. I just did ESPN because I have some familiarity with it. Well, let me zoom in.
Ohio Bobcats.
All right. Okay. I'm starting in the West. The number one overall seed, Gonzaga. I'm going with. Y'all can see good?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going with Gonzaga over the 6. They got a play-in, but that's not going to really matter there.
You don't believe in Norfolk State like that?
I mean, I'd love to show some love to HBCU or whatever, but they always get put in this position, man. But let me move over. Hey, the first round in the West where I'm at, OU and Missouri. Let me go with OU, Creighton, and UC Santa Barbara. Creighton, man, they look pretty whack against Georgetown in that Big East tournament final.
Really? Okay.
But I think I want to go with the upset here, but I think I'm gonna pick another. I'm gonna pick a 12 somewhere else, so I'm gonna just go with the 5 there. Now Ohio, I like Ohio here. Ohio plays. They got a cat named Jason Preston, real dangerous guy,
Yeah.
NBA bound. And they gave Illinois some run real early in the year, so I they could score Ohio. So I'm gonna have them for the upset. USC against a playing team, Wichita and Drake. That's a little old MVC matchup there. But
I saw that.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with USC though. Evan Mobley, the big NBA prospect there, and they'll go against Kansas and Oregon, VCU, Oregon. Iowa may have some problems with this first round. Bryce Drew coaching that Grand Canyon University. Grand Canyon used to just be known for their commercials and stuff, but they post. I guess they got a squad now. But
when did they fire Dan Marley?
Yeah, they did. Marley did used to coach them, didn't he? I'm not sure when, but that's a step up to me though. Because I mean, Marley, I think
Bryce Drew is a bit better.
Yeah, I think Marley that was his first coaching job or something. But yeah, but they just did that because he was they had that Phoenix area, so that was like let's get an old son to coach, But yeah, I think they got a little program down there, but I think I was going to take them. And continuing on in the West, Gonzaga, kind of hard to pick against them this early. I'm going with Ohio again to the Sweet 16, a nice little Cinderella run for them. USC and KU. I'll just go with KU because not all of the Blue Bloods are going to be whack, I guess. And I'm sorry, Iowa, but I'm confident in the Big Ten teams, but I'm not. I think one of y'all are going to fall off a little bit. And I'm gonna go with Iowa for the moment. Put Oregon in the Sweet 16. Go back to Gonzaga, Ohio. I think Gonzaga will end that Cinderella run. And Oregon, I heard they got some players up there. I'm not too familiar with them to really speak with detail.
Dana Alm is a solid coach, though.
Yeah, Dana Alm, yeah, he is. I mean, of course, Bill Self. He can underperform though with his guys from time to time in March, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt this time and have them get to the final, the Elite Eight, the regional final. And again, it's really nobody wants to really pick Gonzaga, for an upset outside of the Final Four. I'm not gonna be that bold and do it, at least not in this bracket. So I'll go with Gonzaga to win the West region, and we'll go with. We'll go region to region, then we'll do the Final Four. And so let me move over to the South. Baylor and is that Hartford or no? It don't matter. Baylor, USC, and Wisconsin.
Disrespect them like that.
This is a 16 seed, man. Come
on, man. People did that to Bradley when they played Michigan State. Like, why are we playing a school named after my little brother and shit? And then Bradley nearly won that bad boy.
Well, y'all were the 16 seed though. It was Hartford.
It was Hartford. Okay.
It is Hartford. See?
Shout out to Connecticut. Y'all going back to Connecticut.
USC and Wisconsin, man. I think USC has played well enough in the later half of the year. I want to pick Wisconsin like on some scrappy pro Big Ten stuff, but USC got to have enough players and athletes to overcome those guys. So I'll get them to advance. Villanova is really ripe for the upset. Their top player is out. A lot of people like Winthrop. The people who really watch college basketball say, and I think they're like 23-1 this year.
Yeah.
Not, you wonder just
They
who
got
all
a
the
six-
wins are against. But
They got a 6'7" point guard too.
sit there, all right.
Well, they might provide some matchup problems, man.
But that's what I'm gonna go with. That's definitely 112 that I'm going with.
I got some. If I can interrupt you for a second, some quick NBA breaking news. The Bucks are about to get PJ Tucker for a 2022 first round pick for the Rockets, to the Rockets. So PJ Tucker's going to Milwaukee.
But they're giving up a 2022 first round pick for Tucker.
So it's going to be the Bucks are receiving PJ Tucker and their 2022 first round pick back from the Rockets for 2 players and a 2023 first rounder, according to Woj.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Bucks want some reinforcements. I mean, I was wondering who was going to get on Tucker, but
Yeah.
I mean that helps him a bit with the toughness and their get those. He could help with the rebounding and everything, and defense. So they don't really need scoring help. So he pretty much does a lot of what they would need otherwise. Yeah, good move for them.
Yeah, maybe knock down a 3 here or there.
Yeah. Thank you for the update, Drew.
No problem.
Drew on the update desk for us.
Drew Wojnarowski.
Drew Bomb.
Drew Bombs.
Back to the bracket. I got Purdue over North Texas. They got nice jerseys though. Got mean green right across it. Yeah. Anybody who know that old movie, what's that?
The soccer movie?
Necessary Roughness.
Oh, is that the joint with Goldie Hawn? Or was it Roseanne?
I think Roseanne is in there. Yeah. But whose own boy is in the lead? I have to dig that up. That's an old early 90s movie though. You have to be really into sports movies to know that. But Texas Tech and Utah State. I'll just go for a random upset here. Texas Tech, they played some tough ball in the Big 12, but I'm gonna just go to random upset Utah State. I don't think either one of those teams are gonna go through. But Arkansas and Colgate, get Arkansas to advance. Florida and Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's a pretty trendy pick. I'll ride with them. Ohio State, can't pick them coming out too early, going against Oral Roberts. But Ohio State, they impressed me in their games with Illinois and everything. So, they got to go at least to a round of 32. But Baylor, North Carolina, Baylor got too much for Carolina. Winthrop and Purdue. I rep with Purdue, Big Ten. They got that young big man in there, Williams, I believe, too. So it'll probably be a little bit too much for Wingate, Winthrop to handle. Arkansas had them advance, and Ohio State, and don't really have any reason to go against Ohio State. Baylor. Some people I've seen like on ESPN, so some people will pick Purdue to get to the Final Four. I don't know if I don't know if I could get them to the Final Four. Baylor got some. I know they got some good college players. I don't know how many future pros they got. So I'm kind of torn with this one. Maybe this will be a good game, a good competitive game. I'll go with Baylor in the end. And I'm actually going to go with Ohio State as a second Big Ten team. I think you can guess who my other Big Ten team that'll make the Final Four will be. But I'm gonna go with Ohio State to the Final Four, and take it down to the Midwest. Illini, of course, over Drexel, and sets up the matchup that I'm hating in the second round. But we got to see it. We got to see it happen. We got to have the battle of Rogers Park in Champaign and see who. I say the North Side gonna be acting the fool. There's gonna be some bars, quite a few bars getting torn up on Sunday with this matchup going.
That Loyola, Illinois.
Yeah, but I'll get back to that.
That's why I picked Georgia Tech.
See, I would hate for Loyola to mess it up, man. To be like, that'd be just as foul as them having to lose, the second round. But that could happen.
I think actually some people said that Georgia Tech has a really good chance of beating Loyola, or someone from has chosen Georgia Tech over Loyola. From what I've seen or heard,
it's funny because they do look like they're a pretty good team. They won the ACC, but they also didn't have to play 2 games in the tournament because of COVID stuff. So it's like, I don't know, But I'm going with Loyola out of loyalty to Chicago. Tennessee, Oregon State. Oregon State pulled off an upset, winning the Pac-12 tourney. But Tennessee, I hear, has got a lot of good talent, pretty good defensive play and stuff. Oklahoma State, I think, pro NBA people definitely up on Cade Cunningham. I'm looking for him to at least take, giving away my next pick. But I'm looking for Cade to give them a run, at least to the Sweet 16. So I got them beating Liberty. San Diego State, Syracuse. Syracuse is getting some picks here. I'm seeing. I don't know. Oh man, I go with Syracuse. And Morehead State and West Virginia. As much as I love the name Morehead, West Virginia, they typically got some tough guys. They're typically a tough out. Bob Huggins, has a team ready. I think he's set up for his 900th win, as in his career too. I think this will be his 900th win. So they're gonna get that for him. Rutgers, I like Rutgers. I was looking at this one from Sunday, talking with Sid and Lakina. I got Rutgers beating Clemson in this one and that one. And Houston over Cleveland State. Some people like Cleveland State, and actually some people, I've heard that their coach is a candidate, maybe a candidate for the DePaul job. But Cleveland State, pretty good team, won the Horizon League, but I don't think they'll have enough for Houston on this day. Going to the second round, Illinois, and I'm a love seeing the matchup between Cameron Krutwig and Kofi Cockburn.
Kofi you know what, man? If I may interject,
go ahead.
I know that people always say if your team doesn't make it, you cheer for your conference, your division, your league, whatever. But we ain't with all that, man. I'm not a Loyola fan, and here's why. Porter Moses is a good coach, man. You know what I'm saying? They've had good squads since the Final Four team. They've had a good squad since before that. Remember David Bailey back in the day, scooting around. He was, I think, like 5'6", and he was a flat-out scorer for Loyola back in the day. And Krutwig is a beast. My man ain't going to the league, though. College is going to be the height of his times, and that time is going to end quick because Kofi Cockburn, a.k.a. the real Baby Shaq, you saw what he did to Luka Garza last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And that, for all of his talents, They, as Cheryl, our friend Cheryl raced out, said his basketball IQ was off the charts. Cameron Quetwig. Kofi is going to wipe him out. He defended that man Garza from the paint to the perimeter, and they operate Crutwig out of the high post. When he gets low, Kofi's playing solid defense. The only hope they have is if they get him in foul trouble, because then he could push around Bishanishvili a little bit. But it's going to be too much, man. It's going to be too much, and I love it because that Loyola squad, I had to see them all the time. After I broke up with my ex-girl who went to Loyola, right afterwards, I had to see Loyola for a month. And I'm not trying to see Loyola again, man. I'm not trying to do it. So, Ayo, and my man Andre Curbelo are going to wipe them off the map. Sister Jean, you go ahead and head back home.
Oh, Chris's heart is like an ice box right now,
man.
See it on Marion, baby.
I wish I had as much motivation as Chris has with this pick, but I'm simply going to say, that Illinois is the better team. Like I said, I didn't want to see this matchup this early. I would have rather them, possibly meet in the Final Four or at least in the second weekend or something. But CBS did this, I think, to get a ratings boost on the first weekend. I think so. Loyola just has to be put on the sacrificial lamb side of things, and there's no stopping Illinois this early in the tournament. I got, like I said, Oklahoma State. I got them making, it's not just Cade Cunningham on their team. They got other talent on their team. So, I think by hook or by crook, they're going to make it. But I think Cade is going to establish himself further as the prohibitive number one pick in the coming NBA draft. And Syracuse and West Virginia, I wonder how, that's an old Big East matchup there. But two different conferences now. Syracuse, like to throw out that zone, that matchup zone, and they do funny things in the tournament. But I'm gonna go with West Virginia there. And Rutgers, they got Ron Harper Jr. So they got some guys over there at Rutgers, but I think Houston is going to pass them. Illinois, of course, got to keep going with Illinois. They'll find a way to contain Cade with, some of that. They got some different matchups they could throw with him with the guards. And Houston, I'm going to go with West Virginia. West Virginia in the final. But it's academic, Illinois to the Final Four. And okay, that's my Final Four so far. Last region, Michigan, they're gonna get through at least one game, but they got their guy Livers is injured. They've been a little beat up. I think it's gonna be hard for me to see them getting out of this region. We'll play that out in a minute here. LSU and God, who was that? Oh, St. Bonaventure. Okay, St. Bonaventure's got some looks, but I like again. I'm sort of leaning towards teams with some NBA talent. Cameron Thomas is a future pro. He's a baller. They had another kid, Watford, who was pretty good. I'm gonna go with LSU and Colorado with George. That's my other 12 here. I'm speaking with my heart a little bit on this one. Georgetown really impressed me in the Big East. They're doing it for Big John. They're representing him right now. I think they're gonna get at least one tournament win for him. FSU, we know they got a lot of talent down there. They, Leonard Hamilton likes to throw different rotations out at people. He doesn't have one guy who really was really held up to do anything or has to do anything. They come at you in waves, so figure they'll have enough to get past North Carolina, Greensboro, I believe. BYU, a lot of people looking at BYU as an upset victim, potentially Michigan State and UCLA playing in the playing game. Winner of that one, I think whoever wins that one, I think will beat BYU.
That's one of the few teams I actually saw late, and BYU looked good against St. Mary's. I think they were playing one night when I was at the gym in the West Coast Conference tournament.
Okay.
So it's a little, but it's the one game I saw, and I don't know who's been. They've made the tournament at least twice since Jimmer was there, so they're consistent. Coming out of the West Coast, which has gotten better every year because it used to be Gonzaga and St. Mary's. And now it's BYU.
Yeah, they've been pretty good in the last several years, like you said, from Jimmer sort of woke that program up, and I may be speaking with ignorance here, but I just Michigan State is a team that you really don't want to bet against typically.
Right, that's what I was thinking too.
March. Yeah, and I just think they'll at least have enough to get through these two games. If UCLA beats them, I think I would bet them against BYU too. So that's just what I'm gonna go with. But I like Texas in this region. Let's see, who are they? God, what's that? What's that school? I think it's Abilene Christian.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So that's another Texas school of action. Not quite the Illinois Loyola matchup, but I like Texas. Maryland and Uconn. Some people are going with Maryland on this one. Maryland has had the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Any team coming from the Big Ten, I think, has an edge this year because of the competition from the conference overall. And I'll go with Maryland. I think the Big Ten is going to, at least in this first weekend, is going to play pretty well as a conference. And Alabama and Iona. Iona has Rick Pitino back in the tournament. Watch out for your waitresses and the in the Italian restaurants in Indianapolis, y'all. But I don't know. I guess hopefully he'll be on his best behavior. I don't think his guys will have enough for Alabama, though. They seem to have a very
up-tempo. Don't bring strippers. That's all I ask. Just don't bring the strippers.
Yeah,
and they pay the strippers.
This they'll have time to play with them after they lose to Alabama. They won't be spending too much time in Indy. But going to the second round, this could be a pretty good matchup with Michigan and LSU. I'm gonna give Michigan the benefit of the doubt, having them in the Sweet 16, and they'll go against FSU. I can't say that Georgetown. I've actually seen a lot. Because you can see the Big East teams on Fox.
Yeah, that's the thing. We can't get those Pac-12 games here.
Right. So it's like I remember those games earlier in the season where it was like, man, what's up with this team? But maybe they are playing their best ball right now, but I just don't see them. Maybe if they still had Matt McClung and those guys from last year, maybe. But I don't think they'll have enough. I think they'll lose steam by this FSU game, and that'll be it for them. Same thing. I'll go with the play-in winner. I think Texas will get to the Sweet 16, and they'll face Alabama. And I like Texas and Florida State for the regional. And I will go with Texas to win the region. Shaka Smart knows how to coach.
Does it?
I think he gets to the Final Four here. I think did he get that with VCU?
Yeah, he made it with VCU.
Yeah,
and then he got the Texas job, and he's been kind of disappointing. But he stayed on, and he's had some talent there. They just haven't made deep runs, if I recall right. I think the furthest that he's gotten is the Sweet 16.
Right. Right. So yeah, like you said, he's been a little disappointing probably as far as Texas goes, as far as Texas, feels, for themselves. But I think this year would be. I think they got a good draw here, and this will be a year for them to get to the Final Four and reestablish themselves. But no way they're beating Gonzaga. Gonzaga gets to the final. Illinois, and I got to go with Illinois. I want to see. This is what I want to see. Is what I'm hoping to see. I can't base it off of anything other than it's what I want to see. But again, Illinois they've had more wins against top competition than anybody in the nation this year. They have 2 pros. They're a team that these are two programs who both feel that they are long overdue with national championships. But Gonzaga, they've been much more they've been much more in the ranks of the top teams in recent years, and they'll be playing for history too. They'll be trying to be the first team since I believe the '77 Indiana squad to try to go undefeated for a whole season. But which that would be pretty poetic if Illinois could stop them, because Illinois, they were like they had one loss going into the final in 05, and I have to. This has to happen, I think. So Illinois is my favorite, and my winner in my bracket, and I'll just enter these random contests that I know I won't win. I'll go with an 83-77 final score. And those are my picks. What is this? Okay, that's some other stuff. But anyway, ESPN got all my info anyway, so. But let's see. I hope I didn't take up too much time. But if you guys want to go with your picks, I can, like I said, keep the screen up with each region and stuff. And you guys want to just go over your picks, or if you however you want to do it, it's fine. If you want to just skip to the Final Four, whatever, feel free.
I'm slowly but surely making it. I got my bottom half of the bracket done, the East and the Midwest.
Drew, guys, have y'all even filled y'all's out yet?
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah.
Mine's done.
Okay.
Virginia's so inconsistent, man.
So you want to go there, Josh? Since you say you're done.
Yeah, I'll go. Starting off in the West region, I definitely have Gonzaga winning. First round, I got Gonzaga, Oklahoma beating Missouri. I have Creighton beating USB. I have Ohio beating Virginia. USC beating the winner of what I guess it's Wichita versus Drake.
Yeah.
I have Kansas beating East Washington, Oregon beating VCU, and I do have Iowa beating Grand Canyon. And then I have, moving forward to the next round, I have Gonzaga beating Oklahoma, Ohio beating Creighton, Kansas beating USC, and Iowa beating Oregon. And then I believe this is the Sweet 16 component of it. You got Gonzaga beating Ohio. I have Iowa beating Kansas, and Gonzaga and Iowa square off to where Gonzaga is going to go to the Final Four. For the South, I have Baylor beating Hartford, Wisconsin beating North Carolina, Winthrop beating Villanova, Purdue beating North Texas. I do have Texas Tech beating Utah State. Arkansas beating Colgate, and Virginia Tech beating Florida, and Ohio State beating Oral Roberts. Baylor's going to beat Wisconsin in the next round. I got Purdue beating Winthrop. I have Arkansas beating Texas Tech, and Ohio State beating Virginia Tech. So then I have Ohio State beating Arkansas, and Baylor beating Purdue. And I have an upset where Ohio State is going to beat Baylor.
Okay, that's what I got to.
Going east, I have Michigan beating the winner of Texas. I think it's Texas Southern, and I forgot the other team. But I have Michigan winning that game. I have LSU beating St. Bonaventure. I have Georgetown beating Colorado. I have Florida State beating UNC Greensboro. I expect Michigan State to beat UCLA, and therefore I have Michigan State beating BYU. I have Texas beating Bill Christian, Maryland beating Uconn, and Alabama beating Iona. Then I have the next round, Michigan beating LSU. I have Georgetown beating Florida State as an upset. I have Texas beating Michigan State, and I have Alabama beating Maryland. Michigan will have the round of Juwan Howard playing against Patrick Ewing, all representing their alma maters in a coaching game, but Michigan's gonna pull that one off.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
And I have Alabama beating Texas, so it's Michigan versus Alabama, and I have Michigan going to the Final Four. And the Midwest, I have Illinois beating Drexel, Loyola by a smidget beating Georgia Tech, Tennessee beating Oregon State, Oklahoma State beating Liberty, Syracuse beating San Diego State, West Virginia beating Morehead State, Rutgers beating Clemson, Houston beating Cleveland State. The next round, I do have U of I sending a little brother, Loyola Chicago goodbye. I have Tennessee beating Oklahoma State. I have Syracuse beating West Virginia. And I have Houston beating Rutgers. Houston will then in the next round beat Syracuse. Then I have Illinois beating U of I beating Tennessee. U of I beats Houston. So my Final Four ends up being Gonzaga and Michigan, and Ohio State and Illinois. I have Gonzaga beating Michigan, U of I beating Ohio State, and I have U of I winning with a final score of 66-63.
That's a little low score, I think, but I like the result.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be a tough defensive battle.
Okay, cool. Josh riding with me pretty much same Final Four, except he got Michigan and I got Texas coming out of the East. But same result in the end there. Okay. Who wants to go next?
I can go, man. I'm gonna just skip it on right down to the Final Four, man. So I got Gonzaga coming out the West, and FSU, Florida State, coming out the East on one side. Then I've got Baylor and Illinois representing the South and the Midwest. I think like you guys, I got Gonzaga and Illinois in the final. Illinois winning 87-86. I think it's going to come down to some sort of last play. And the Fighting Illini take it home, bring it on back to Champaign.
Okay. So I'm going to have to tag the Illinois heads in some of my social media with this one. We got three or four. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing we're going to see a little differentiation with Chris.
Yeah, and I'm sure because I got three number ones going to the Final Four. I'm sure that ain't holding up.
Yeah, that's kind of tough. I watched the ESPN had like a nice bracket special yesterday. Like it was based around Jay Billis, and they had other people from You saw that, Drew?
No. I know he came out and he had his whole bracket.
Yeah, but they was comparing brackets from all the people on ESPN and stuff. But Bill said, like, if you have, it's not, typically not going to see 3 number ones, but if you do pick, or all number ones, definitely. But if you pick them and you get 2 out of 4, you still at least got the 2 in that, 2, you got the 2, that you pick. So,
yeah.
So, I mean, it's, picking 3 is tricky because you may fall out of line and get only 1, but then we all know, like, you get that one team in the Final Four, how hard it is to sit through the Final Four, because it's like, you could either finish, like, if you be in a group or whatever, you can either finish at the top of your group or be like 500 for something if your team loses, so. That's, like I said, again, that's the fun of it with these brackets. But let's say, Josh, I don't know what you good. You on mute.
Yeah, my bad. I'm back at a different location or a different location where I normally would do my recordings at. So there's action going on behind the scenes.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Chris, man, how you want to go through it, man? How you want to go over?
I had the last, like, Drew reminded me that I picked a lot of number 1 teams to make the regional finals. And while I can't really bet against Gonzaga and Illinois, like, I took Illinois to the Final Four because it's law. There's law in the state. if they're this good, you pick them to make the Final Four.
Right.
I'm kind of waffling on. Let me go through the first round. Up and down. So number 1 seeds make it out. No disrespect to Appalachian State or Norfolk or Hartford. Drexel. I like Drexel. They've had some teams in the past, like way in the past, that were decent. And then Mount St. Mary's and Texas Southern. Mount St. Mary's got their team in the women's tournament too. So shout out to all the schools who made both tournaments.
Definitely.
But Michigan, the number 1 seeds are taking those. Number 2 seeds are taking theirs too. I couldn't find a team in that 15 slot that had. I always look for teams that either shoot the ball well, play, and I think 3 things. If you're a lower seed team below like the 13, either you shoot the ball really, really well. You shoot the ball really well. You have good defense. And you have a post player taller than 6'9". Okay. Typically, if undersized teams, they might shoot it really well. UMBC was the exception to this that I can think of, and that Middle Tennessee team that beat Michigan State was one of my favorite tournament teams of all time because they won their game next year and were close to going to the Sweet 16 twice. But otherwise, a lot of these undersized teams just get pounded to death when the time gets down to it. That's kind of what happened to Bradley against Michigan State. They had their guys working inside who were just too much. So none of the 15 seeds make it. 2 seeds in there. Then back to the top of the bracket, I had Oklahoma over Missouri, Wisconsin beating North Carolina. The Carolina team, when I've seen them, even with what's my man's name? Leaky. I can't think of his last name.
Oh yeah,
he's a nice looking player, but as an 8 seed, I don't think they're like Kentucky or those other teams who get the 8 seed and then just are underranked, underrated. I did pick Georgia Tech over Loyola just because of the fact that Georgia Tech beat Florida State twice this season. And that really stands out to me. Like, they beat Virginia Tech, which is a good win. They beat Clemson, which is a good win. And they beat Syracuse. But they beating Florida State twice this season, when this is one of the best Florida State teams that we've seen under Leonard Hamilton, means something to me. So Loyola's a solid team. Like I said, they got a solid coach. They are probably undervalued, even as an 8 seed.
Yeah, I think they were underseeded. They could have been about a 6 or so.
It was a weird season when the Missouri Valley, Bradley had a lot of people out, so their competition was bad. They had a COVID postponement. I think Drake at one point had to postpone games. I think Northern Iowa had to postpone games too.
Yeah,
so they didn't get it.
You had that in a lot of the conferences. The thing is with everybody talk about they love KenPom. KenPom got them at ninth in the country.
I saw that, yeah.
So,
and I think it was Ricky O'Donnell tweeted out that NCAA hates KenPom because he was one of the people, the sports media personalities who was really upset that they got put to for that potential second round matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to bet against KenPom. If I should have pulled it up, paid whatever the fee is. But I still really do like Georgia Tech in that one. If I'm surprised, I'm surprised, but that's fine.
It make it easier to root for Illinois in the second round.
And that was part of it too. I was gonna take the Bonnies and St. Bonaventure because they've been interesting a couple of years now, but LSU, that Southeastern Conference it's like the Big 12 in football season. They run and gun it to death.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I got Alabama at the bottom half of the bracket taking a run too.
They say they shoot more threes. They shoot threes like a pro team.
And that's nuts. So will you say that? Like Michigan was number one in the conference for most of the season, outside of Illinois. But man, when you get a team like that can run and shoot the three really well, especially in this day and age, that 8-1 might be Michigan's undoing, which one of these number ones got to lose at some point. Either way, I got Colorado over Georgetown as I checked their stats. The Pac-12 was lightweight decent this year, but everybody seems to be, at least the ESPN rankings seem to be high on Colorado, and they beat some teams who would be normally favored.
Yeah, Bella said stay away from, everybody is Georgetown is trending too much, essentially, is what he said.
I think it's just because they're a name. I love Patrick, and I'm glad they won the tournament, but I think in a normal year, Georgetown has been they've been Reggie, they've been real Reginald.
Yeah, they have. They ain't even been Reggie, they've been Skunk for the past few years, man. They've been some dirt weed.
And so you got some teams who kind of got in a weird year. So I got Colorado there. Florida State over Greensboro. BYU over the Michigan State UCLA game. I'm going to be interested to see how that goes. Same with the other 11-11 because I picked the winner of that over USC. Texas beat Abilene Christian. Maryland, I had UConn for a second, then I doubled back and picked Maryland. And so let me just fill out the rest of the East. Michigan beats LSU to make the Sweet 16. Then Colorado meets them after beating Florida State, which is kind of surprising to me even. Texas beats BYU, and then Alabama to meet them after they knock out Maryland. Michigan, Texas in the Elite Eight. And I still don't know. I might look at that one for a long time. Because Shaka and Texas have been disappointing, but they were ranked number 4 this year. This is the best squad he's had.
Yeah,
and he's a solid coach.
They were ranked pretty high, and whenever I've seen them play, I've mostly seen them play Baylor and Oklahoma State, and they've had some wars in that Big 12, so they may be ready for the tournament, particularly.
That's the thing. I feel like they could go either way. Like Shaka could lose in the second round, or he could beat Michigan and make the Final Four. It's just based on history. But I'll look at that for a long time coming.
I still think they need Livers to get to the Final Four. If he don't come back soon enough, there's going to be trouble for them.
Okay. And it's funny. It's weird. They didn't even mention him in this little blurb. So Illinois over Georgia Tech. Oklahoma State beats Oregon State. West Virginia over San Diego State. No disrespect to Kawhi. And Houston, Houston's kind of gunning for it. They who was my man who was at Houston? Rob. Those when they were ranked like number 3 and got shocked in the upset. But this is their time. This is Houston's time to make a run. So I think they meet Illinois in that regional final and just don't have enough. But that'll be really solid for Houston. They beat West Virginia and Clemson. In the top half, in the South, Baylor to meet Wisconsin. I got Winthrop over Villanova because Jay Wright had his year. Otherwise, you never pick Jay Wright. You just don't do it.
Huh.
And Winthrop seemed like, I checked their roster. They had that combination of elite scoring and a tall, at least one tall player that plays significant minutes. So I think they're the surprise. They're the 1-5-12 who wins, but I don't think they can hang with Purdue. That was the thing. Isaac Harm's brother, the super tall kid who was on the Purdue team with Carson Edwards. His brother's at BYU. So that's another reason that I like them to at least win their first round matchup and maybe that second one, because he's not necessarily as good as his brother in terms of just being a giant dude inside the paint who's got some touch, but he's decent and he's going to alter some shots. So unless they have somebody who can contend with him and pick up the outside scoring defense, then that's why I think BYU might take that. But back up in the South, Utah State over Texas Tech. Don't know too much, but Utah State had some the blurb said don't sleep on them. They beat San Diego State twice, and they lost to BYU by 3. Those are quality games. I know Texas Tech is in that Big 12, which was really, really nice this year, but Texas Tech also lost to Kansas twice, and this is not a great Kansas team. So I'll take that Utah State upset, and then they lose to Arkansas. Ohio State against Virginia Tech, and Ohio State wins that one. And I got Arkansas meeting Baylor in the regional final. I need to take some time and do some research before I pick that one. On the other side, Gonzaga goes all the way through, beating Oklahoma and Creighton. And Creighton over Santa Barbara, Oklahoma, Missouri. Oklahoma gets that. And Creighton over Virginia, that super slow Virginia team. It's a toss-up. It really is a toss-up. So I could come back tomorrow and say that they'll beat Creighton, but I'll take Creighton at this moment. Whichever team wins in the Wichita Drake game beats USC and then loses to Kansas, and Oregon over VCU, and Iowa beats them to meet Kansas, and it's Gonzaga, Iowa in that regional final. So I've got my one Final Four team, and the other 3 matchups are Gonzaga, Iowa, Baylor, Arkansas, and Michigan, Colorado. This could really be, a chalk year where all the one seeds make it, because, like I said, it's a weird year. We have the disadvantage of not having seen much, even though I know y'all watch way more than I did, but you don't get those Pac-12 or West Coast smaller conference games. And even though it's weird to see Colorado at the top of the Pac-12, by all rights, they are supposed to be there. So I don't think it's a stretch to say that they could or should beat those teams that they've been playing against. That Florida State Colorado should be a really good game, if they both make it.
Right. It's a lot of interesting variables going on this year, and like you said, some of the smaller schools we don't know much about, but a lot of the bigger schools are lower seeded this year than they would be in other years. So it's like, what are you basing the quality on? Is it what players? Is it the players you have, or is it the competition that they face? There's also been a lot less the interconference games happening this year. The
Right.
the pre. The pre-conference games, there was a lot less of those this year. So you didn't get as much of you can't say as much like one team from the Big 12 face team from the Big 10, how many of those teams face each other and how many teams won over the other or whatever, or Big East teams against SEC or ACC against Pac-12. You have a lot less of those games. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
The one thing, I don't know if y'all read this, but Rembert Brown did a Chappelle Show tournament bracket way back, and I read it every single year because it was really good. Two, the way he broke everything down in terms of the best sketches on the show was fantastic. But once he got to the Sweet 16, he said it wasn't about which one was funnier, it was about which one had more cultural impact. And it's kind of the same for the tournament. Once you get to the Sweet 16, Elite Eight, it's not about scoring or defense. It's, you look at close games. So you check the teams who have a lot of fouls, who get into foul trouble the most, and those teams that can shoot free throws the best. And that was that Texas and one of those matchups where it was Texas versus Alabama. Both of them shot at like 70% from the line. So that's not really conducive to closing out a game. So you really, really check those teams who are not guaranteed to miss, like Ohio State, which seems to have solid free throw shooting year in, year out. Like those other big conference schools that you see shoot the ball well from the free throw line. I think that's the one knock against a school like Baylor, and Scott Drew's been there. If I know he got caught up in something, so I don't remember if he's still there. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, he's there. He's there.
Okay, I gotta check it, but Baylor, I think historically hasn't shot from the free throw line that well, even though they are objectively great. It's just something to take a look at.
Okay, they say, are you ready?
69%. Damn.
69. That may be around average though, because I think if you get to that 80 range or something, you're pretty great as a team. So
they're like just below they're probably like the 45th percentile at 221st, and I think there's 300. Keep taking this quiz on the site how many teams there are in Division One.
They're like 360 or something like that.
It's a crazy number.
There's a lot, yeah. Because there's so many schools that have basketball programs, don't have football, or they got football but they ain't won AA or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Are you ready to pick the rest of your Final Four? Or you need some more time.
Well, me?
Yeah.
Man, I'll take the chalk, man. Except for, is Michigan in the same bracket with Baylor, or is that crazy?
No. Michigan and Baylor both number ones.
Yeah, give me Michigan. I can't see Gonzaga losing to Iowa, even as good as Iowa is. You know what? I'll take Iowa in that. They played Illinois real tough. The
thing about Iowa is they may go crazy. If they go crazy, they'd have to go crazy shooting from outside. And
they got that man Bohannon that can do it.
Yeah. So they'd have to really have a Villanova in 85 game or something against Georgetown, because they don't play much defense. So, and I don't know, the Garza, like you said, Garza had trouble with Kofi. Like Gonzaga could throw like 3 or 4 guys at him, like Timmy and.
Gonzaga's got some big guys?
Yeah, they got that Timmy guy and the guy, my man wears the headband. I forget his name, but yeah, they got some players. I
mean, these dudes are big, but he's like 275.
Yeah, they're not bigger than Garza, but they're athletic.
Oh, okay.
But I like that pick though. If Iowa gets that far, why not? Shit. Like I say, I'm willing to go with any Big Ten team. Just about. I mean, it's hard to pick against Gonzaga, but you put any Big Ten team in a stressful situation, I'm willing to say that they could at least hang. Not as maybe, they'll at least hang. Like I said. Well, yeah. So you say you got chalk in the Final Four
Today.
But like I said, you'll have to have it set until Friday if you want to be considered for the prizes and stuff. But
everybody out there, don't forget the tournament starts on Friday this year.
Right, and and you don't have to worry about playing games. Like if you're in a thing and they say the playing games you have to get them in for the playing games. That's not a good look for a group. But we can leave it at that. I'm glad to get you guys on the record with your picks, and we'll see how things go. But this is gonna be our only show for the week as far as running goes. And tomorrow Josh is gonna have a special live in the scope. Tell them about that a little bit, Josh.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Ricky O'Donnell and the Kenneth Davis on my show talking, all things March Madness. Ricky O'Donnell's exclusive interview with Io, and just talking about everything March Madness. And I'm gonna give Ken a little bit of a chance to go, AWOL on what the Bears are doing since he's the new host of that Under Center podcast now. So I'm gonna give him a little bit of a space for him to go ranting on that. But other than that, man, it's gonna be a March Madness type of show with two people that know their stuff with college basketball. So it's about to be a pretty crazy show.
Well, the Bears trying to make it March Sadness,
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So, and we gotta hear from Ken about doing Under Center, which we're all proud of here on WARR. So, it's been great to see him do his thing there. You can subscribe to that on YouTube and listen and watch those podcasts where they do them every Monday. But they did an emergency one on the Andy Dalton signing, so that came out today, so you can check that out as well. But and like I've been looking at I don't want you don't want to do this typically, but I was looking at some of the comments on YouTube, and there's a couple stragglers like. People be asking like, "Oh, where's JJ?" Like, if you like JJ so much, you would know that he's got a new job. So he's working? He's writing on the Colts now. Why would he be still doing the Bears podcast? Freaking idiots, man.
Man, it's just the society, man. People always gotta throw darts, man.
I just complain for no reason, like Ken is better than you, so why just be quiet and listen to the podcast.
Yeah, everybody brings something different, man. That's the fun of it. Like JJ was cool, JJ was great, him and Cam. But like I told Ken, like it's awesome seeing, like you just said, Ken having him on there, listening to him, and shoot the shit with everybody on there, and give his opinions, and everybody giving their opinions on everything. He brings a different flavor to it, man. You just gotta appreciate, like,
right,
yeah.
And the thing, people don't know how hard he's worked to get an opportunity like that. So when being that I know, I feel a certain way when I see something like that. The average person doesn't know, but they should know that he's worked hard to get to that position. And if you work hard and devote yourself, maybe you can get a similar position. Just don't hate on somebody who did it on their own. So. But that's it though. For like I say, that's gonna be Josh's show tomorrow. I'll also be on live after that with typically I do In the Building on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday, but I'm doing it tomorrow with my man David Evans. So watch out for that as well. And that'll be it. Like I say, that'll be it for us live this week on WARR. We'll also have Sid and Lakina. I'll try to have them go over their brackets on Second City Sports Weekend Edition. And we'll be back next week. Should be on our regular Thursday position. When I got a guest set up, I think this will be pretty fun. Justin Husong is the community strategist for Halftime Sports, which is a pretty cool app. I think Drew, you've been on there. An app for basketball enthusiasts. People just share all types of media on there and do in-depth discussions. Sort of like a exclusive safe space for hoop heads. Without all the silliness that you may get on other platforms and stuff. It's a pretty cool site. We'll learn more about it next week though with Justin, and get back to our regular scheduled discussions on the NBA and everything, and talk about whether how the first week of we'll get into how the first week went with the tournament as well. So see how our picks shape up. But yeah, that's it for now though, guys. Thanks for joining me on short notice and doing your thing with the brackets. Good luck. And like I said, the money will be there. I'll keep that 100 available for us at the end of the tournament. So you guys will have something if you do well. That'll be it for now though. Running with WARR, WeAreRegalRadio.com, WARR on Anchor, WARR on YouTube, WARR Ready on Substack. You get to read Drew. It's pretty much been the Drew show so far. I need to get back on my writing thing and get some. If you're interested in contributing, holler at us. Young writers of all shapes and sorts. If you got an interest, especially in Chicago sports, holler at me. I'm be like Christopher Walken in King of New York. Meet me at the Plaza Hotel. I'll give you a job. But that's it for now. Again, fellas, thank you for convening. Good luck and enjoy the tournament. And we'll get back with you guys next week.
And speaking of BYU, sorry to cut that off. So I'll keep Sean Bradley in your thoughts, man.
Oh, right. Yes. Good. Yeah. Good stuff, Chris. Definitely keep Sean Bradley in your thoughts. He was paralyzed in a car accident. Definitely was a guy who, was pretty prominent in for those of us who came of age in the 90s watching NBA, was not an all-time great player, but definitely a guy we remember from back in the day. And, definitely a sad story hearing about him being paralyzed. So, yeah, definitely our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. Appreciate you mentioning that, Chris. Anything else you guys got on your mind? Any other updates, Drew?
Nah. No other updates.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see next week if some more moves come across in the next week. Hope we'll see if there's any more roster shakeups. Bulls have their roster shakeups. They're trying to get a third straight win tonight. So we'll have some more clarity on the recent moves and see how they're working out. But it looks like it may be a positive thing so far. Benching Kobe and Carter. Wendell. So we'll see how that goes continuing in next week. But anyway, I won't hold you guys any longer. This is Running with WARR, and in the meantime, we'll keep bouncing. We'll see y'all next week.